Welcome to the Purpose for Life podcast. It's Wisdom Wednesday, no matter what day of the week you're listening. We're excited to have you here today. I'm Suzanne Roberts, your host, author of It's Deeper Than That, and the founder of the Great Reconnection. And today it's exciting because we're actually in person together. We've got our beloved co-pilot, Monu Singh here, and we're in person, which we've never done before.
No, but it's lovely.
It is quite lovely. Thank you so much. Actually, today I'm going to show it, and we will have a link for you how you can buy these, but we're going to draw from the Wisdom Deck, the Great Reconnection Wisdom Deck, which goes with the book or independent of the book. And they're amazing to use. How do you use them, Monu?
So I will pull a card every morning after my morning meditation, and I just use it to sort of orient myself for the day. And then sometimes I'll just pull a card at any point in the day just because I feel like it.
And how does it help you, or what do you get out of it?
I think for me, it really helps. It's like another tool in helping me keep my attention where I want it to be.
And where do you like your attention to be? What's important to you?
My own radiance, my aliveness, freedom inside myself.
We're in alignment with what our operating system design is for us as human beings, with the battery operating as a way for us to reconnect and remember to the truth of who we are. So we always start with that as human beings, we have a soul, or our soul consciousness, which is a drop of the source of life for all of creation, for that eternal ocean of love. And all energy has to move between poles. So we say our soul is a positive pole, and the material world or form is the negative pole, not negative meaning negative, but just charges, and that the soul sends through form in order to remember itself. And the pathway of reconnection for us is to work towards our mind becoming more of a neutral vessel rather than a dictator and controller, so that the soul, which is the positive pole, can be our inspiration and our guidance instead of the mind becoming the positive pole. So we're actually supporting the mind becoming more neutral in order for our soul to become our guidance, which is a very different way to live. And then when we're here, we can, while we're functioning in this world and taking our actions, we can also remember the truth and radiance of who we truly are, and that which goes with us, or we go with when we die. So we're going to reflect on a card here today. And the card that came up today, which is quite beautiful, Raiden Gibran picked these designs. Be guided and informed by your deepest self. We were just really talking about that. What is our deepest self? It is our soul consciousness, and that deepest self can guide and inform us. So let's see what it says on the back. You are invited to choose your soul as your positive pole, your North Star. By doing so, you honor the power of your soul as a drop of the eternal ocean of love. The wisdom and guidance you seek is available through your deepest self, connected to the source of life for all of creation. Awaken your inner listening. Follow the impulse of life guiding you. You are already whole and holy. It is time to return and remember the truth of who you are as your guidance. And it's so interesting because we're in the middle of the Great Reconnection Signature Leadership Program for soul-led leadership. And today our focus was on humility. Humility as an aspect rather than diminishing ourselves, but humility being a gateway to the power of what this card is talking about. Humility acknowledging that we're connected to the source of life for all life. And that creates a humility to acknowledge that I'm not generating this life energy. My soul is generating it for me through the source of life for all of creation. And when we can honor the power of our own soul, the power of our soul being a drop of the eternal ocean of, we're calling that humility in a way. And as leaders and as human beings, how can we pause and take the time to allow a deeper kind of listening inside of us? We talked today in our training about what's the difference between control and listening. How can we move from control to listening? And it says here, awaken your inner listening. Follow the impulse of life guiding you instead of us trying to control it. So what does it mean to pause and take the time to become receptive, to listen inside, tuning in a way and just interrupting our habits, our reactions, our ideas of what we think it's supposed to be or how it's supposed to be, or pushing our own agenda or trying to control the agenda, and coming to a place of, if I take action, do it from a place of just taking action and not controlling the outcome, but letting the outcome be revealed so that we can learn and grow. And within all of that, I feel like it disrupts the pressure of perfection, of proving, of having to know it all, of having to figure everything out, and instead coming to terms with that there is an inner guidance inside of us. We have this incredible intelligence of our own soul connected to the source of life for all of creation inside of us. And what knows better, our soul or our mind? Anyway, I'm going to go back to the front of the card, and then you can reflect on what this means for you. So be guided and informed by your deepest self.
I love this card. I feel like in a certain way, it kind of encapsulates everything that I'm trying to do, at least, but I think it's central to what we've been talking about all along, is how can we shift from what so many of us have been taught all our lives, is to create our own futures, plan, strategize, manifest, whatever words are used. It's this way of existing in the world that is very ego-led. It's very individualistic often, and it's very production-based. Like, what are you putting out in the world and how are you doing that? But I think that, when we shift to being guided by our deepest self, it is just so much more powerful than having our mind try to lead us, and instead attuning to, like you said, this astonishingly intelligent system that exists in us already, and listening and then following that. I think what is revealed in that way is restorative, it's rejuvenating, it's nourishing, much more than the way that, again, so many of us have been trained, where we're the ones efforting. And instead, it's like we're moving into the way that we were designed, the battery. We're allowing that energy to flow and lead us into much deeper and more powerful ways of evolving.
I think evolving definitely, and also taking action. I don't want anyone to think being guided means you just sit and listen. I take a lot of action, for sure. But where am I taking it from, and where am I trying to get feedback from? I think that when we're trying to prove our value, the world will reward you for burning yourself out, for disconnecting from yourself, from, not living a life of balance. And I'm saying, while we take action, if we can be guided, we'll be guided from a place of wholeness and holiness, so our actions will produce less harm. If we're living with the awareness that all of us have a source of life flowing through us, we are connected and interconnected, and all of our actions impact the whole system. And when we keep that awareness and use that kind of inner guidance, we will be guided very different towards generative, positive energy where people can feel included and wanted and really be productive because they get to be their best selves from living fully inside of them. And it changes the quality of life. You can still be productive, but the quality of the experience of you living your life and being with others living life from this way is different. Yeah, and I think listening to people that are in the training right now, which you're partaking in just today while we were talking about this, hearing people say, I'm pausing and asking the question, is this soul inspired action, or what is required of me here? And not just being a producer, but being a generator and including their own selves in there. So their own radiance is part of it, that they're actually fully engaging the power that's inside of them as they're taking action as leaders in this world.
Yeah. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. It's like, in taking action in this way, you are included in that process.
Yes.
You're serving life rather than serving a system of production that doesn't really need or want you and actually functions better when you're not present and listening to the truth of who you are. So it's like in that pause, we get to choose, like you said, what is the quality of life that I want to have and what do I want to serve? Do I want to serve my own life and allow that to lead me to take different choices? Or do I want to continue in the way that I've been that has caused either burnout or disconnection or just an alienation from our own knowing? For me, it just feels so much more powerful. And I can, because we have conversations obviously outside of this space, I can really see and feel the differences in my own life the more that I have tried to practice the pause and practice listening and then taking a different step.
And you are a leader in an organization. And so can you tell us how your leadership is changing?
Sometimes I think the word like authentic gets a little bit overused, but I feel like we all have our own sort of uniqueness that can elicit other qualities in other people or allow other people to also be more of themselves in a space. And I think that, you talked about how listening deeply allows for more inclusion. And I feel like what I'm beginning to see is that the more I am myself and allowing my own expression to inform the decisions that I make, the more I am allowing space for other people to show up and make their own contributions in a fuller way, which I think just contributes to the health of the organization. It contributes to the health of the collective. I think we make better decisions.
Right.
I think we make, honestly, more creative and innovative decisions.
Yes.
Because there is an expansiveness to that way of being, and to feel like that everybody within a certain social hierarchy of like a workplace or whatever, from the top down, is being afforded greater opportunity to contribute in their own unique way and is being supported by the system, I think can only lead to better and better things for everyone.
I agree. That's why the Great Reconnection soul-led leadership is launching, because I believe everything that you're saying, that organizations and communities can live vibrantly with the knowledge that we're interconnected, and people can be engaged and have self-care while they're being active and generating great results without becoming producing machines, that cause disconnection. I just was listening to this book, and it said burnout is soul sucking. And yet people get awarded for burning out. And so we're saying let's award radiance, let's award vibrancy, let's award rest and wholeness and holiness, and that everybody is part of this inner web of life, and let's all contribute together. So let's go back. Everybody, we're inviting you to be guided and informed by your deepest self. And we're so glad to have you here on our Wisdom Wednesdays. We just call them Wisdom Wednesdays, but they're just delicious nuggets of exploration of what's deeper than that, which if you haven't read it yet, what do you think about that book, Monu?
You absolutely should. If you haven't read it yet, you absolutely should.
Absolutely. And we'll give you a way to buy these wisdom deck, and there's beautiful cards in here. Thank you for listening to us today. Thank you, Mona, for being here. It was great doing it in person. Hopefully we'll get more of this. And thank you, listeners. Once again, this is the Purpose for Life podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Roberts. So glad to have you here today. So glad to have Monu here. And take time to pause and listen so that you can be guided and informed by your deepest self.